That all-you-can-eat buffet of drama we just polished off as a country, the 2008 election? Well, there is still some victuals on the steam table. The election, I can report with gleeful political gluttony, is not over. Three dramatic Senate races are still totally up in the air, with a filibuster-proof Democratic majority potentially in the balance. So what are we waiting for? We're waiting for breaking news in Alaska. Democrat Mark Begich, the mayor of Anchorage, is now leading America's highest-ranking convicted felon, incumbent Republican Senator Ted Stevens. He's leading by 3 votes. At daybreak today, Stevens led by a little more than 3,000 votes. The Alaska Division of Elections said it expects to count roughly 35,000 additional absentee and questioned ballots over the next week. I will be interviewing Mayor could-be Senator Mark Begich tomorrow night, which is very exciting. In Georgia, Election Day's long, drawn-out finale is a runoff between Democrat Jim Martin and incumbent Republican Senator Saxby Chambliss. That will be happening on December 2nd. Now, how big is this race? President-elect Obama has dispatched political ground forces to aid Jim Martin's cause, and John McCain is campaigning in the state for Saxby Chambliss tomorrow. The Democrats today posted a web ad reminding voters how John McCain felt about Saxby Chambliss when he won this seat 6 years ago against triple amputee and Vietnam veteran Max Cleland. The ad quotes McCain, who told CNN at the time, quote, I'd never seen anything like that ad, putting pictures of Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden next to the picture of a man who left 3 limbs behind on the battlefield. It's worse than disgraceful. It's reprehensible. It's kind of awkward to have the guy who called you disgraceful and reprehensible now making the case for you, isn't it? The Republicans in Georgia are out with a new TV ad, too, repeating the theme of yesterday's web ad, minus one important thing.
With unchecked power hanging in the balance, Georgia can't afford another liberal like Jim Martin in Washington.
Did you notice the yawning absence of Barack Obama in that ad? He of the near 70% approval rating? They're web ads, the Republican web ads, which you have to seek out online if you're not watching this show where we show them. The web ads include their Be Afraid of Scary Barack Obama stuff. But when it comes to broadcasting ads on television, these guys are not stupid. And the scary Barack Obama has now been replaced by scary liberal Chuck Schumer in the ads that are airing on TV. I guess because tons of Georgians wake up in a cold sweat at night worrying about Chuck Schumer. I'm sure there's a logic there. I just can't see it through the weirdness. Also in the Minnesota Senate race between Democrat Al Franken and Republican Norm Coleman, a massive 2.9 million vote recount of the Senate race is set to begin next week. The Associated Press puts the current spread at 206 votes, with Coleman ahead. Guess who's playing Daddy Warbucks for Coleman's recount effort? That would be Mitt Romney, of course, who has family ties to Minnesota. Oh, no, wait, that's Massachusetts. Michigan. Utah, wherever. He's just very, very rich, and he is helping to bankroll Coleman's recount, which is dispatching at least 120 lawyers across the state. Meanwhile, Minnesota Secretary of State Mark Richie, the man tasked with overseeing the recount, he's being demonized by the Republican Party as a Democratic version of Katherine Harris. The National Republican Senatorial Committee distributed a 3-page list of reasons why no one should trust Secretary Richie. They cited an unsourced claim in a Minneapolis Star-Tribune article that the Communist Party USA wrote encouragingly of his candidacy. It's becoming a weird sign of having truly made it in American politics now when the Republican Party calls you a commie. Joining us now is a man who has that distinction, Minnesota Secretary of State Mark Richie, who doesn't appear to be a commie, but you never can tell. Mr. Secretary, please forgive the
Good to be with you, Rachel.
Forgive the McCarthyite intro here. I'm having fun, and I'm sorry for putting you through it. It seems from
okay. It's good to be with you, Rachel.
Good, thank you. It seems from outside the state that there is an effort underway to delegitimize the Minnesota recount before it even happens, and they're doing that in part by smearing you as untrustworthy and partisan. Do you think that is the strategy here?
Well, I think it's just normal in any kind of high emotion situation like this. But we just have to keep moving forward. You know, we have a great team. We have local people all set to go. We have our state canvassing board all set with the Supreme Court justices and district judges. So, you know, taking political hits is part of the territory. It comes from both parties sometimes. But we're just heading right into this recount, and we hope to be done before Christmas.
You were asked earlier today about the Coleman campaign questioning the integrity of the vote counting, a similar question to what I just asked you. And your reply was this, quoting you, I think it's a normal campaign. You know, their goal is to win at any price. They've invested millions and millions of dollars. So we consider this part of the normal political rhetoric, much like what you just said in response to my first question. The Coleman campaign came after you for that comment today, saying your comments were offensive and saying that it underscored their concerns about your ability to act as an unbiased official. I know you say that you are willing to take the political hits, but they're not just smearing you, they are smearing the whole process of electing people in Minnesota. Do you want to respond to that criticism and, I guess, defend the election process of your state?
Oh, I think you're putting your finger on something, which is I'm fine to take those political hits. And, you know, I do believe that both political parties take this race very, very seriously. But it is true that when smearing this race, you know, the campaign kind of mode that we're in, does bleed over into attacking the local election officials. And keep in mind, we have 30,000 volunteers and others who serve as election judges. We have 87 counties with fantastic local people. I want to make sure that those people who are really the public servants who will be doing the counting directly starting next week, I want to make sure that the hits come to me, not to those local election officials who really are serving the public by making this process happen very quickly, very efficiently, very accurately, and with total transparency.
Mr. Secretary, have there been any irregularities or signs of potential tampering that you have been worried about yet thus far in the counting process?
Not yet, but keep in mind, we have not started the recount. The recount is triggered by the state canvassing board if an election is within 0.5%. Because we are within that 0.5%, we will be ordered by the state canvassing board next week to start, and we will begin the morning of the 19th. So that counting process will begin totally in public. There'll be challengers from both campaigns. Any ballot that the challengers do not agree with the election officials' determination of the intent of the voter go into a challenge piles, and all of those come back to the state canvassing board in December.
Minnesota Secretary of State Mark Richie, thank you for your time, sir. I wish you a very speedy and very fair recount. Good luck.
Thank you very much.